Hello, awesome people. I hope you are having just an absolutely magnificent day today. Today, I'm going to be taking a look at my review of the recently released Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous Extended Edition from September 2nd, 2021 for you folks. And so we'll be taking a deeper dive into this review for you folks. And just as a heads up, now this review, I did not get this for free. I spent about 169 hours playing my first run through this earlier this year for you folks. So this review, again, since I didn't get it as a review copy or anything like that, my reviews are obviously going to be my own. It's good stuff for you folks. And so I played it for about 6 weeks and was really, really in depth. I did play all the DLCs. Then I grabbed the added quests like an Eights of Masks or an NPC in one case, that sort of a thing, as well as the other archetypes, quests, and NPC companions, all those sorts of things. So all the DLCs that added those, I did. But the one, for example, that added the roguelike dungeon or the one at the end, those I didn't do after you finish. So I did not add those, just as a heads up. So I do have that experience in my first playthrough for you folks. I wanted to do a beginner easy playthrough because this is a pretty complex set of systems. I play as a ranger subtype called the Demon Slayer for you folks. I did this. I chose a ranged combat version. There's an archetype for it online by Morticimal Gaming that I used as the base for it and such. This has a cat or a wolf or an animal companion that you can choose that's really strong too, and so forth. It's very, very, very strong. I chose the ranged one at the beginning. I thought, because there's another, no spoilers obviously, but there's another ranged person you get very, very early in the first dungeon. And I was like, wait, this seems like a little duplicative and so forth, but then the more I played into it, the more powerful it was. This definitely seems like ranged. I was like, why didn't all the advisors recommend, a melee-based Slayer and so forth? And I was like, because of just how strong ranged is. I ended up having Arushla in my party. She's also a ranged ranger too, and she was very, very strong. I mean, she could do more damage than I could, right? And so forth in single shots. And so forth. It was very, very strong. The Demon Slayer, just as a heads up, has its ranger enemy penalties against all demons, not just a demon type normally. You would have to choose one of 3 different demon types of it because of how common demons are in this game, because of the crusade aspects of Wrath of the Righteous. There are tons of demons that you will come across and so forth. That's one of the reasons why it's considered one of the best ones, not only to start with, but also to finish with too. You can definitely win this on one of the harder modes. This is notorious for how hard its hard modes are. Just heads up for you folks. So I played on the easier mode and turned off the crusade mode in my first run through for you folks. So your mileage may vary with the crusade mode, but you can turn it off. Once you turn it off, you can't turn it back on, just a heads up. And I even turned off leveling up of my characters, although I would turn it back on at times in order to deal with things like when sometimes, like for example, the base one for Sela would give her not her pet horse, but a sword instead. And I thought that was not appropriate for me because of how powerful the companions are. Like I mentioned earlier, the horses that you can learn and the pets that you can take, they are their own characters. They learn their own feats and so forth, so they can trip characters when they attack them, that sort of thing, which gives you an attack of opportunity when they stand up. Attacks of opportunity are very important in this. I played through it again in my first playthrough in turn-based in order to learn the system. But attacks of opportunity are a key part of how you win this game, especially against more powerful characters, right? And so forth. And so a tripped person has to stand up by a pet. They're very, very powerful, and again, they can learn all the feats that you can't do. You can also teach them things like perception, so they can can detect things and that sort of a thing too. So they're very, very powerful. Only one NPC, Sela, the Paladin, has a base that can learn it. So you'll have to take somebody, right? And so forth. That's why in the next run through, I'm going to run as a female druid in order to take that and see what the advantages or disadvantages of the game are with that. Again, Arushla, she's a good succubus here. 2, I was chaotic good. I followed the same god she did, Arusha, Desna, and so forth. I thought this game has some richer content, just like Baldur's Gate 3, but whereas Baldur's Gate 3 really felt more about sensationalism and memes and that sort of thing, this one is a key part of the thing. It feels like a part of the plot, rather than just, just something to write and write. And so I thought that was very strong. It treated its mature audience very, very strongly. No spoilers. Please, no spoilers. But there's definitely some things that happen in here that you'll be like, whoa, right? Right. So this has voice acting for some characters and actors in some scenes, not all of them. Just a heads up. It can be a little surprising at times when it doesn't use voice acting. And there are some characters that won't use it at all very often. And then some will use it like all the time from DLCs and such like that. Remember, this isn't the huge budget of BG3 that came out a few years later, right? This feels more like a mid-tier budgeted thing, just a heads up. In case you're going into it. I did love it though, but it just go into it with that perception, just as a heads up. So this game is very, very mechanic intense, since it was based on a Pathfinder, which is itself based on the 3.5 edition Dungeons & Dragons, which has so it has a ton of classes, which are called archetypes, more than 30 of them, and they have subclasses too, more than 100. So you can choose all those, and then you have feats too, just like 3rd edition. That you can choose tons of them, more than hundreds of them too, and then also you have you can also choose archetypes based off of you, so like based on how many classes you have, what races you are, what your alignment is too, so and so forth too. So this is a very, very, very mechanically dense. Just as a heads up, it's a harder game than BG3. BG3 really felt like an introduction, if you will, with the simplified version of 5th edition, which is already a simplified version compared to like 3rd edition, right? And 3.5 specifically. So this definitely feels like a nicer and lighter, easier an aspect, right? Just as a heads up. So I do like that this is so the games that it's based on. But again, this is more of a passion project, and it feels like it too. Just as a heads up. So I loved this lots. Just as a heads up. It's one of my favorite RPGs in the past 5 years. It's a strong 10 out of 10. Love it lots. But there's a few things you'll need to know going in. First of all, since it didn't have the budget of BG3, which came out later, it can be a little... If you play it after Baldur's Gate 3, you can be like, wait, what? You're right, there's not as much voice acting. The graphics aren't as strong, right, and so forth. So, I would go into it with that knowledge. Remember, this game came out like back in 2021, right, and so forth in September. It's more of a mid-tier game, but it is a much more mechanically dense game, so it will enrich you. So I do think for those reasons, it can be a better thing to go to after Baldur's Gate 3 for you folks. And then, because it came out earlier, the voice acting can be a little uneven at times. Like I said, the Crusade mode can turn off a lot of fans, and it's a bit uneven at times, I'm told. And it's a sub game that you have to do for the Crusade mode proper. In those games and so forth. And also there are some places where you're reading text and making decisions and then getting told, and then they'll make rolls in the back rather than you actually doing it and so forth. It reads a little bit more like a visual novel, if you will, which for different aspects I think is good, but it can sometimes be a little bit jarring for like a dungeon rather than an encounter and so forth. Just as I do. But if you want a deep and engaging game that will reward you from start to finish and will make you want to replay it again and again and again, this is the game for you. 10 out of 10 for you folks. We're just going with those caveats. All right. So there you are. That's my review of Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, the Enhanced Edition for you. Have you read it? I'm sorry, have you played it, rather? If so, what did you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. No spoilers again. I'll link you to this on Steam in case you're interested in checking it out. If you agree or disagree with my 10 out of 10, just let me know what your thoughts are too. Let me know what your thoughts are. Everybody's version and take of a video game can be very, very different. You could love it, but still be like an 8 or 9, right? That's fine. I'm not going to lose any sleep on it. Or if you just didn't like it at all, or if you hate Crusade mode or whatever, just let me know. Just let me know your thoughts in the comments below, right? If you like this video, why not hit that subscribe button? the like button, the bell icon if you're feeling frisky to be notified of my videos, and then also let your friends know, like Pathfinder friends, both the video game and the role-playing game, Dungeons & Dragons fans, CRPG fans, RPG fans, fantasy fans, whatever, video games, whatever. And then remember, this channel's name is The Worst Thing About New Books. That's a quote by a French philosopher named Jacques Schubert, who said that the worst thing about them was they kept us from reading the old ones, right? And these are definitely older things from a few years ago that we might have forgotten about, in this case, video games. From an RPG that hasn't been turned into a video game that's been around for a long time until the previous one by Owlcat Games that made this, that for them was, again, that passion project for them. And this is their second game in the Pathfinder RPG that's based off of an adventure called Wrath of the Righteous. So there you are. I'll go ahead and leave it to it. I want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing it and watching my video, because we all have so many things that are happening, right, in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spend this time with me, that's incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it much. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.